everyone. This is another Freedom to Feel conversation. And my guest today, once again, is the lovely Kathy Healey. She is an author, as Maryjane Spillane. Kathy is the author of three books: A Single Touch, Queen of the Hill, Nans Alphabet, and Nans Alphabet for Children, Searching for Your Family in the World. So, Maryjane Spillane is an accomplished author who believes every story has the power to transport, inspire, and connect. For her, writing is a passion, an escape, and a way to share ideas that uplift and inspire. So, this is my brief introduction to you, Kathy. Also want to mention that you are an advocate for children in foster care. You have done a
Yeah,
lot of volunteer work in hospitals, food bank, and social committee in her community, in your community. So that's really beautiful. We have been talking off record here. A question that I love asking everyone, I ask you again. So, this is my brief introduction. The full bio will be at the end. But how would you introduce yourself? Who is Kathy in this very moment?
when I meet someone new or get into say, a woman's conference, and I'm walking into a large room, or I'm meeting into a boardroom one on one, whether it's
Yes.
12 people or 1,200, I say, "Hi, my name is Kathy Healey.
Yes.
And I want to be the spark in the room. I want to
Mm,
ignite friendship. I want
yes.
to invite enthusiasm. I want
Yes.
to invite happiness. I walk
Yes.
into the room. I want people to welcome each other and
Mm,
welcome me and know I'm ready to listen. I
mm,
think my one of my
yes.
skills is to listen to what people have to say and learn from
Mm,
what transpires between our conversation.
mm,
Uh, I
yes.
reinvent myself at every cost, every turn. I
Yes.
try to be what the room needs. I don't
Mm,
necessarily be what I need. Whatever
mm,
that room needs, you have a feel, you have a
mm,
happiness, you have a sadness, you have a business, you have an atmosphere, and you have to
right.
be part of that atmosphere. And that's
Right.
how I introduce myself
Mm.
into a program or into something that is brand new.
Right, right. It's beautiful. So in a way, you feel you're very human in a sense. So just kind of um, the word integrate is not really the word, but it's connection, isn't it? You just connect really well. You have this longing to connect, perhaps.
I have a longing to learn, and I
Mm.
learn from people, I learn from other people, places, and things. I learn when
Right.
I learn when I look at somebody in their eyes. I look at
Mm.
somebody when they're speaking to me face to
Yes.
face. Uh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't look at a computer. I want to
Yes.
if they're in a board meeting and everybody's looking at the computer, what good
Yeah.
is it? To look at each
Right.
other.
Right. Right.
And and
Right.
actually, when I dinner with the children or grandchildren, the phones are away. You need to communicate verbally, physically, emotionally, but
Right.
without tapping your fingers on your keys. So uh, I really do believe that communication is everything, but it's not
Mm.
just one thing. It can be
Yeah.
many different complicated forces of that situation.
Right. That is so true. Yeah, we have. I noticed that a lot of people, even I see parents using their phones. When I just saw a picture of my husband, he went to I think it was a football game or baseball game, and then behind him, I saw a father with the son, and the father was on the phone, and the son was looking at him, like asking a question, but the father was looking down, looking at
Yeah,
his phone.
people think that's the way to communicate now, and it's part of the past is gone. There's new things coming up, but we have to learn to connect. You can't
Yes.
connect looking at a screen. Now,
Yeah, I
you may
agree.
be able to connect business wise looking at a
Yeah,
screen,
yeah,
but not your son.
I agree. I absolutely agree. So you said you love to learn. So a question that comes to mind is, what are some of the most important things, or the most, let's say, wise things that you have learned throughout your life? What would you say if you were to make a list of the most
Of
important things you have
things that I've
learned?
learned in my life,
Yeah.
I've learned timing. You sometimes you need to shut up. You
Yeah.
need to keep quiet
Yeah.
and let the room speak.
Yeah.
You need
So true.
to
So true.
uh, sometimes you're in the wrong place and you need to
Yeah.
get out of there. And sometimes
Mm,
there's so much
mm,
negativity in the room, you just need to go stand in the corner. What I have learned
mm,
in many, many years, that people come into your life and they
yeah.
may stay 20 years, 20 minutes, or 20 days, and then they
Mm,
leave. And then there's people who are in your life 50 years, like your sisters, your brothers, and friends, and
yeah.
they pass away uh,
Right.
from illness, or they walk away. Sometimes
Okay.
relationships don't last that you think are going to last another 10 years, and they don't.
You
So
don't.
you
Right.
have to be able to let go
Yeah.
of a relationship that is strong and
Mm,
meaningful, but they want to
mm,
walk away.
mm,
You have to
mm,
let people walk away if they want to leave.
mm.
Uh,
Love that.
Another issue I
Yeah.
have is
Yeah.
empathy.
Mm, yeah.
I If I'm walking down the street and I see someone sitting with a shopping cart and they want $1, I would prefer to give them to go into Wendy's or Burger King and buy
Mm,
a meal and give them a meal. And
yeah.
so
Yeah.
sometimes
Yeah.
people want something, but you don't think that's the right product.
Right.
Sometimes giving them $1 is satisfaction. You're giving the satisfaction of that moment, and then you walk away. But if you go
Right.
buy them a burger or French fries or something and give them a meal, that meal lasts longer than the $1.
Right.
Another thing I learned is,
Right.
as you get older, you have more patience. And
Yes.
patience when
Yeah.
you're younger doesn't last long. As you get older,
Yes.
you
Yeah.
temper your patience to make it last longer. Your
Yes.
patience is not when a baby's crying. The patient is sometimes on an airplane and
Right.
uh, somebody keeps kicking your seat behind
Right.
you. It's a 4-hour flight,
Oh
and
my
it's
God.
a 6-year-old. And
Right.
sometimes you need, because the mother can't control the child, but my seat keeps bumping, bumping, bumping.
Right.
Patience. I also think loyalty.
Mm,
Loyalty is right up there in the top five.
right.
Loyalty to
Right.
yourself. If somebody says, why don't you dye your hair? You'll look
Yeah.
younger.
Right.
And I
Mm.
say, I'm 78. How much younger can I look? But
Yes.
some want you to
Yeah.
change their idea of what you should be. You need to be
Right.
loyal to yourself and
Mm,
believe in yourself, and
mm. Yeah.
don't give in to what other people think you should be.
Yes.
People have an impression of what you think they would like you to be, But
Yes.
that's not what you need. You need
Yeah.
to be honest,
Mm.
you need to be loyal, and you need to be kind.
Mhm. Yes.
Kindness, I
Yeah.
think, is probably number 2.
Yeah.
Uh, Sometimes people are not kind to you,
Yeah.
and you have to absorb it.
Mm.
But sometimes the people don't know, they weren't raised to be kind.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
because I have children in foster care, these
Mm.
children have been abused since they were 2, 3, 4, 5,
Oh,
and beyond,
yeah.
and even age of 6 months. They've been
Sad.
No one has been kind to them their whole life, and they don't know what kindness is.
Right.
They don't know how to experience it, and they don't know how to accept it. Kindness is
Yeah.
something you just have to keep giving. Give it,
Right.
you give it, but you don't always get it back. That is what
Mm.
kindness
True.
is. Kindness
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
trying to have an equilibrium in your life that
Yeah.
you just are. Kindness is happiness. Kindness is a quality that people are raised with, and
Yeah.
sometimes people get it later in life. But most people are raised when they're swaddling, or when somebody changes their diaper, or somebody feeds
Right.
them. But not everybody has that.
Right.
So giving
Right.
kindness to someone who's never had it, some people do not know how to accept it. They don't
Right.
know how to accept kindness. And
Wow.
you can't keep giving it if they don't want it.
Right.
So
True.
they're probably my top 5 of
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah. Yes.
of the
Wow.
things
Mm.
that are important to me.
Right. I love them all. Yeah, there's a lot of wisdom there. You didn't mention love. Hopefully, I listened well. Kindness is pretty close to love, isn't it, Kathy?
Love is something that uh, I've had tons of it in my life. I
Yeah.
had parents, loving sisters, loving brothers, a loving
Mm,
husband.
yeah.
But love is something that takes. I believe love is something you give, but you don't always get back. Kind of like
Mm,
kindness.
yeah.
Love,
Yeah.
love is important, but I think love is a natural part of your being if you're given it at birth. You're given
Oh,
that warmth.
yeah.
Love is warm, love
Yeah.
is flowing,
Yeah.
and love is uh, easy to come and go, but not for everybody.
Mm,
It's,
right. Right.
I would say, the other items I mentioned before, I didn't mention love
Mm,
because it's just, it's so much part of my being that
mm,
I don't include it because it is just like probably 80% of my DNA. I, g-
yeah.
I probably give more than I receive. It,
Ah, yeah.
and
Mm,
you know what? Just because you don't get it back, you just have
mm,
to keep giving it.
right. That's true.
A- and and that is why
That's love.
I probably didn't
Mm,
mention it. It is, it, yes, it's important to me,
yeah.
but it encompasses the other top 5. It is
Yes.
kind of like a circle, the circle of life.
Yes.
It includes love, it includes kindness, it includes generosity, it
Mm,
includes all the other things, but love perpetuates the other items. Love makes the
yes.
other happen.
Right. Yeah. See, again, I hear a lot of wisdom. Yeah, you're very wise. Yeah, human being, beautiful being. And I noticed that right away when we met 2 years ago. Yeah, it was long
Yeah,
ago. It was so clear to me. Yeah,
you
so
know what?
clear.
It,
Uh,
it's funny. The last time we met, I was in a parking lot, and I had to pull over because the timing of our interview didn't align with my day.
Wow.
So I
I
pulled
remember.
over, parked my
Yeah.
car, and I talked to you in front of some bushes.
Yeah, I
And
remember. I remember. It was improvised. Yeah, it was
yeah,
an
and
improvised. Yeah, you did
today I'm
well.
uh, little more secure because right now it's 11 o'clock at night where I am, and eight
Mm,
o'clock at night where you are. So the timing
yes.
is a little different, but it still works.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you for saying yes to this conversation, for meeting me today. So I want to go back to your books before we talk about peaceful existence. Um, what inspired you to become a writer? And then I would like you to talk about those three books. Just a brief description of them, if you don't mind.
Okay. What, uh, why I became a writer many years ago, I used to write for the Detroit News. I
Ah,
was uh,
ah,
a columnist for a social network columnist. I did
right.
social events with parties and festivals and fun things. And it
Mm,
included personalities, it included couples and children. But I did more. The name of my topic was called Canton Chatter. It was more of
oh,
a chattery type
yeah.
of column, and I
Yeah,
wrote for the Detroit News and the Detroit. I lived in Detroit,
right.
the Detroit News and the Detroit Free Press, because I was active in a lot of social events. So they asked me to write a column, and it was once
Mm,
a week for about
mm,
4 years. Every
right.
week about festivities, people, and the community, and got involved and got invited to many social events that were festive
Mhm.
and high end, and people wore tuxedos, but
Yeah,
also a swimming event, and people had bathing suits on.
yeah,
Michigan doesn't really have a long summer, and
right,
so I'm in
right.
Detroit. They have maybe 6, 8 weeks of summer, and that's about it. So my
Oh, right.
the festivals,
Yeah,
in the summer are a little bit short. Okay, we'll go to the books. I
right.
wrote 3 books. The first book, I'm one of 13 children, and the oldest female child. And none of the children were multiple births. They were all single births. So getting
Right.
pregnant 13 times, and my mother,
Amazing.
uh,
Mm.
it takes a toll on your body to have one child, but to
Oh, yeah.
have
Oh, yeah.
13 over and over and back, you're
Amazing.
talking like in the 40s, 45 to
Yeah,
60. She had
right.
multiple children during, and a little bit later, 66 and stuff. Not all, most of the children were 1 year apart, and then
Right.
2 years apart or
Mm,
whatever. And it
mm,
lasted, about 18 years to have 13 children. And I wanted to write
mm,
a book about my mother's
right.
legacy, and it's called Nans Alphabet. And
Yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you a little bit
Mm,
in a moment why I use the name Maryjane Spillane. Okay,
right.
but the
Right.
first book is called Nans Alphabet. It's a legacy of my mother because she, for me, she was the best mother in the world. And
Mm,
many other people, of course, think their mother is the best mother in the world,
yeah.
but she gave me positive feedback every single day, whether I was changing a diaper or giving somebody a bottle or making a meatloaf
Mm,
or mopping the floor. There was
yeah.
always positive feedback from
Yeah.
her to me. You're doing a good job. Keep it up.
Mm, yeah.
And
Beautiful.
that is why I wrote the book Nan's Alphabet. That's the first book. The
Yes.
second book is called Nan's Alphabet for Children.
Yeah.
That book is about how she nurtured her children, her grandchildren, and her great grandchildren to go on and be a force in society. So
Right.
that so the books are up. So Nan's Alphabet for Children are about the same people that are in Nans Alphabet, but where they went to after her nurturing. My
Uh,
mother's nurturing of those people when they were children, and they could have been 12 or 18 or 16 or 14 or 6. Her nurturing caused these adults to go into medicine, to go into law, to go into being a teacher. She inspired everybody to continue their education, to learn about books, to learn about
right.
reading, to enjoy
Yeah.
reading. And that was number 2. And I wanted to write a children's book because her her goal in life was family. She didn't care about anything else. She didn't
Mm,
care about uh, going to a prom, or she didn't care about going to a social event, or she didn't care about her beautiful clothes. She only
right.
wanted to be a mother. She wanted to be a good
Mm,
mother, and that was
yeah.
her whole life. Was her family. She was totally devoted to the
Right.
children, grandchildren, and great grandchildren, and she died at 88. So I
Oh.
had her in my life 66 years. To
Right.
have, not everybody's that fortunate. Of course, some
Mm,
people, their mother
right.
dies at childbirth. But I had
Yes.
my mother
Yes.
6 years who mentored me and gave me uh, a projection to be better every day and learn. Keep
Yes.
learning. Don't stop.
Mm,
I don't care how old you are. Okay.
right.
The third book is called A Single Touch Queen of the Hill, and it's a book about sex. It's a book about interludes with men. I've had interludes with men, women, transvestites, uh, gay women, and uh, a lot of the men were married.
Mm, wow.
And married, but I never did it for money. But I
Right.
had many, many interludes, and in different countries in the world. Uh,
Mm,
I just found sex as in, inspirational. I could please someone else, but then I wanted to be pleased.
right.
I give something and I want something back. You don't always
Right.
get that in sex, but my
Right.
goal was to be satisfied and to satisfy the other person.
Right.
And I'm learning, and sometimes I saw the man or woman once, and some
Mm,
interludes were over, longer periods.
mm,
And if they were married, people say to me, "Aren't you ashamed of yourself to be with a married man who has a
right.
family?" But if he or she didn't want to be with me, they wouldn't have
Right.
been there. Maybe I made their marriage better by
Right.
giving them
Yeah.
satisfaction, by giving them pleasure, and
Yes.
I had pleasure back to me too. But
Yes.
uh, uh, some of these men were very rich and
Mm,
women,
right.
and they gave me uh, a trip to Paris to see the
Mm,
Champs Elysees and the Tour de France, the
right.
last day of the Tour de France, or a trip
Right.
to the Eiffel Tower, or Barcelona, Spain, but
Huh.
on a jet plane. They had their
Oh,
own
wow.
jet plane. So,
Wow.
and some were to fly to Chicago to see a football game in Soldier Field, or to fly
Right.
to LA to see say Michael Jackson back a while ago. Michael Jackson
Right.
performed on stage in the Hollywood Bowl.
Right.
Things like that that people never experience. But
Right.
I got to do things that were fun. They were expensive,
Amazing.
but a single time Queen of the Hill is about interludes.
Right. Wow. What a fascinating life experience. That's I know now you're very much interested in peace. I mean, you're just very curious, and that's what you said earlier. That you're you want to learn, and it's almost like there's no limits for that, right, Kathy? You just want to learn. How
You know,
beautiful.
what is funny about learning is this week I'm a bartender. I still work even
Mm,
though I'm older. I'm a
yeah.
bartender and I do bartending jobs here in Las Vegas. And the other day I did a marijuana convention as a
Wow.
bartender. Well,
Yes.
I know what marijuana does. I know what it is, but we had marijuana seeds and marijuana from every corner of the world. So
Right.
marijuana, I had to learn how to talk to my customer about
Right.
marijuana. And
Right.
even though I might have experienced it, say in the 60s and 70s when it was illegal, well, now it's
Yeah.
legal. And
Yes.
they have different pipes and different ways to smoke and different ways to
Right.
grow it and different ways
Right.
to enhance it and
Right.
make it more potent. All that I had to learn this week. So I'm
Wow.
learning new things all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes, what's not to love about that, huh? That's to me, that's one of the main, almost like the main qualities for happiness is learning, it's curiosity. As long as we have that, the brain, something happens to the brain, it becomes, in my experience, it becomes happy every time I learn something new. It kind of, I love being creative, so I'm very creative. I very much relate to that. I know we didn't talk about joy and peace, but I guess it's all connected. So why did you choose the topic of our conversation today, peaceful existence? I was curious about that. Why does a specific two
I
words?
want I want peacefulness in my life. And this year, I made a plan. It took me several months, but I went to the country of Bhutan,
Yeah,
Bhutan.
yeah,
Now, a lot of Americans don't know how to spell it. They don't know
yeah.
where it is. We don't
Yeah,
teach it in school. And
right,
it's a country most people don't even know about. They don't know what Bhutan is, where Bhutan is, or why Bhutan exists.
right,
Bhutan is
right.
run by a king, and
Mm,
it's a country that the king forces himself and his philosophies on integrity, kindness,
mm,
peacefulness, and tranquility. I
right,
wanted to go there and see what this country, how could a country have all that and we don't have any of it?
right, right.
We have conflict in this country, as everybody has conflict in the country,
Yes,
but this country of Bhutan doesn't have conflict.
right.
Because the king rules. Well, another thing is you can't have a Hershey bar. In other words,
Oh,
you don't have things that are wrapped because in this country there's no trash. There's no trash on the
ah,
road. There's no
wow.
trash can anywhere. People don't
Mm,
drop things.
yeah,
People want a pristine world and they
wow.
want everything to be peaceful and beautiful. And that's what that country is all about. And I didn't think there was a country in this world that existed like that, but it
Right,
does. But you have
right.
to see it. You have to believe that it's there
Yeah,
and you can be part of it. Now, I
yeah,
was only there 6 days.
yeah,
Of 6 days is nothing compared to my many years of life, but it was
yeah.
6 days of me seeing, yes, it does exist. Yes, kindness exists. Peaceful
Mm,
exists. Tranquility exists because the king makes it happen that way. He
right.
rules. He rules.
Wow,
Now,
wow.
Bhutan is a country where you pay
Mm,
the king, you pay a fee to come into the country. It used to be $200. Now, for every day you're there, you pay
yeah.
$100. Then
Wow. Wow.
if you're there 6 days, 8 days, but it used to be 200. You used to pay the king $200. Then you
Wow.
pay a visa, you pay
Yeah.
immigration fee, you pay different fees for the country before you
Right.
go.
Yeah.
But when you are in the country, you have to be escorted by a citizen of Bhutan. So
Right.
you're paying to get there. You're paying for the
Mm,
citizen to go to move you around the all the different roads and different temples and to learn about the country. But they're there to teach you the correct way. But
mm,
there is a country that exists for kindness,
mm,
tranquility, peacefulness,
mm.
uh, and humbleness. These people are humble. You also, in this
Yeah.
country, there's cows that just walk around and bulls that
Yeah.
loose. They walk
I
around the
love
road.
I
And
love that. That too.
there's gas and cows and sheep, and they walk along the
Oh,
road, and they're loose,
yeah.
and
It's like,
dogs and cats and stuff. But
yeah,
they're loose because the people want them to run free. The people are
mm,
free,
yeah.
and the animals are free. They're not
Wow.
caged, they're not on a leash, they're not
Oh,
in a pen, and
yeah.
that's the way they want to treat each other, and that's the way they treat their animals. And it's kind of like, yes, our dog is on a leash, yes, our dog is in the backyard, yes, our
Yeah.
cat is confined to this or whatever. We put people in cages, and we put animals in cages. They don't. They
Yes.
have total freedom and peacefulness. And that's what that I had to learn that. I had to go
Yeah.
there and learn about Bhutan
Mm,
because nobody's
mm,
going to teach you
right.
to see it and to feel it and believe it. You're inspired that you
Right.
want that in your life. Now,
Mm, mm.
isn't necessarily that easy in America or any
Yeah.
place else that has a government that tells you, certain things. And we have rules. Not so many rules in Bhutan.
Right.
It just they don't have to because they do what the
Mm,
king says.
right.
And and
Wow.
Bhutan was magnificent. If
Mm,
that's what you want.
mm.
Not everybody wants that. They want to see it, but they don't really want to believe it. And they don't want to live it. So
Yes.
that's why I traveled there. It was quite a distance away.
Right.
But it's near Cat for people listening to this broadcast. It's near Kathmandu. It's near Nepal. It's near Mount Everest. If you
Right.
want kind of a perspective of where it is in the world, it's the
Right.
next country further than Nepal. That's
Wow.
how to kind of focus in on where in the world is it. But most people
Mm,
have never heard of it and don't know how to spell it.
right.
So,
Yeah.
but
Yes.
you know what? To get there and to plan it and go through all the paperwork and uh, different visas and all the things you have to go through, you want to kind of give up and say, this is not worth it. It is
Yeah, it
if
is
that's
worth
what
it.
you want. Not everybody wants a vacation like that,
Mm, mm.
you know. So
Yes, you're right. You're right.
yeah, yes, it was very
Mm,
very
mm,
inspiring
mm,
and uplifting.
mm, mm.
And I left the country of
Yeah.
Bhutan and came back through Hong Kong, which is, a huge, huge country of 27 million people, trying to go through the Bhutan airport and then go through the Hong Kong airport. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's like going through a bar.
Nightingale.
You can't really compare.
Yes.
It, it was,
Yes, I can imagine. That's funny, Kathy. Yeah. I can
but
I can imagine that.
I had to go through Hong Kong.
You're funny. So it's a Buddhist country, right, Kathy? Bhutan?
Yes, there may be other, but the king uh, pronounces that, and they wherever you go, they have up on the highest point of the country. There are like immense Buddhas placed there for you to
Mm,
look up and worship. And I
yes.
don't know that every single citizen is, but that's the lifestyle that they lead.
Right.
and uh, it's a
Mm,
worship. They worship the Buddha because that's what the king says, and
right.
their
Mm,
family traditions for hundreds of years has always been Buddha. Now
right.
in Nepal, they have other religions. They're in that part of the world, like Tibet, Nepal, and they have other religions and other ways of life, other temples that they worship at. But
Right.
it seemed to be in Bhutan. But I would say probably a good percentage are Buddhist.
Yes, that's what I heard. You mentioned earlier something interesting about not everyone wants peace in a sense. Not everyone even heard about Bhutan or are interested in going there because they're probably not interested in being peaceful. Why do you think that is?
I think some people like turmoil. They they
Mm,
they they want things
yeah.
stirred up, and
Wow.
uh and I think it's when if you watch the news, and sometimes it's in the schools, the
Right.
by bullying and different things.
Mm,
When
mm,
I was in school, I don't
yeah.
ever remember being bullied. But
Wow. Good.
bullying in first grade, second grade, third grade, it's it's whoever's the top, whoever's the fittest, and that's
Mm,
turmoil.
yeah,
And
it is.
I
Yeah.
think
Mm,
people
yeah.
like turmoil because they want to see who's the best, who's the top, who
Mm,
can create the most friends, who has the most buddies, who
right.
has the best car, and and part of that is jealousy, and
Mm,
and sometimes we look at our neighbors and stuff. I wish I had that car. I wish I had that clothes. I wish I had that lawn. I wish I had that swing
wow.
set. I wish
Wow.
I had uh,
Yeah.
that peacefulness that you have. But some people just want turmoil, and other people,
Wow.
they want to
Wow.
avoid turmoil, so they
Right.
stay away from those people. But
Yes. My case.
uh, I our society kind of feeds off of things that are, and I'm not just talking about the internet. They
Yeah.
they 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 want action. They want
Mm,
motivation. They want movement, and some of that
mm,
is turmoil.
yes. So
And
true.
that's when I
Um,
see that
mm,
I don't really want to be part of it. But you know what? It encompasses your daily life, and that's being in traffic, at a traffic light, on a bus, on a train, trying to get through an airport and TSA. All that is
mm,
turmoil.
yeah.
It can be really frustrating.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's a very good point. So it might be something like what I've heard they wanted to match, right? Their mental state. So it's so many thoughts and it's a chaos in their mind, so that they want to match that on the outside too. So it's almost like a reflection of their
And I think
minds.
it comes from your, what environment did you come from?
Yeah.
If your parents are arguing every day, if your brothers and sisters are fighting every day, if your
Mm,
neighbors are fighting with you and you're fighting with each other, sisters or
right.
brothers, and the turmoil's in the house, when you leave, you expect it to be outside the house. But if you grow up with it, you think that's part of life, and it doesn't
Mm,
have to be, because but you
right.
don't know any better. You're a product of your
Yeah.
environment.
Mm,
And that
mm,
environment could be none less than people slapping each other, or
yeah.
it
Yeah.
it, it could be many different ways that you grow up, and then you take it outside the house when you leave to go to school.
Yes. Yeah. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. So, if we want United States to become more like Bhutan, then it's almost like
Well,
everything has to change.
we need and we need the citizens to do what the king says. And of
Right.
course, we have 375 million people in America. And
Yes.
I don't believe they have more than maybe maybe 250,000 people in
Mm,
Bhutan.
yeah, it's a
Uh,
small country.
they come in and out, and they come back for festivals and stuff. I don't know how many citizens live there.
Uh,
We have there, but uh,
mm,
I don't think. I think maybe the world at one time was maybe, but there was World War One. There was the War of
yeah.
1812. There was the French and Indian War. There was wars,
Mm,
all over the world. You look at Attila the Hun in Hungary. He ruled, and look at the Roman Empire. Uh, you know, 3,000 years ago, and
right.
uh,
Mm,
I believe that I don't know that we could ever be like Bhutan because we have
yeah,
too many people, but maybe we could if we had the right king.
right. Oh, queen, right?
Or
Oh,
you know,
queen.
it, but I don't think Bhutan has ever had a queen. I think it's always
No,
been a male. I'm
yes,
not
you're
sure.
right. Yes. Perhaps, yes, yeah. Just
Maybe
mention here.
someday.
Maybe someday that'll be good. That'll be a good change. Um, so how do you live this how do you embody this concept of peace? Like, I know you have been all over the world and now you just came from Bhutan. How do you live that peace, Kathy, on a day-to-day basis? I'm wondering.
I I try to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
I try to wake up. I live in Las Vegas, and we have 365 days of sunshine, and that
Oh yeah.
helps. Okay.
Yes.
So we have a lot
Yes.
of sunshine. So I wake up
Yeah.
to the sun. I
Yeah.
wake up to saying, Dear God, I believe in God. I say,
Mm,
Dear God, thank you for a new
mm,
day.
yeah.
Every day I wake up, I thank God that I'm alive, and maybe
Mm,
today I can help someone else. Someone
mm, beautiful. Yeah.
to
Beautiful.
and it's not just the USO, it's not just the military, it's not just the children in foster care, it's not the adults where I feed the homeless. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Many other different things that I do in a safe nest, and so I wake up, and I want to be happy. I want
Mm,
every day
mm,
to be kind,
yeah.
and every day I get out of bed, I just want
Mm.
peace of mind. Not
Yes.
peace and quiet
Yeah.
necessarily in that order, but I my
Yes.
mind to be full of, I want to go out
Mm,
and be a better person than I was. If today's Wednesday, I want to
mm,
be a better person than I was
mm.
on Tuesday.
Yes.
And there's always ways, there's little ways, and it's not money. It's
Yes. Huh,
um
huh.
if your neighbor uh has a flat tire, and you
Yeah.
go knock on their door and say, "You have a flat tire, can I help you fix it?" You don't really
Right.
want to do that because you're on your way to work and you might be late for work. But
Right.
sometimes you have to stop what you think you need to do next and help somebody. And
Right.
it doesn't have to be a
Mm,
flat tire. It could
yeah.
be a person riding the bike and they fall
Right.
off the bike. You're going to
Right.
help them pick. You're going to pick them up and say, "Are you all right?"
Right.
So it,
Right.
I just wake up every
Mm,
day,
mm,
and
yeah.
even if there are clouds, I see the sunshine in my
Yeah.
mind, and I
Yes.
want to
Right.
perpetuate that
Yeah.
sunshine to other people throughout the day.
Mm,
It's really
yes.
what I want. That's how I start
Yeah.
my day.
Yes, it sounds really wonderful. Really wonderful. I mean, you're a very wise person, and it feels to me like you said, we're a product of our environment. So you already had this foundation with your mother and your family. So that's truly amazing because it's almost like a karmic thing too. Perhaps you that's what I heard, that there is a law. So perhaps you have done so many good things, different lifetimes, even if you believe in that, and then now you just kind of ripping, kind of having
Well,
the results of that, the goodness.
I certainly don't have the stamina I did when I was 22 or
Right.
even 35. I'm
Yeah.
older. I walk slower. I get
Yeah.
up out of my chair slower.
Mm.
I do things probably a slower pace than most people do when they're
Yeah.
50. And
Right.
I find my own pace, but I don't apologize for it.
Mm.
If
Mm.
somebody is walking behind me, I will step aside and let them by. I don't try to walk as fast as they are walking.
Mm.
I was in a wheelchair once. I was in a skiing accident and I was in a wheelchair
Oh,
for a extended length of time. And whenever I see a person in a wheelchair, I will stop and say, what do you need? And a lot of times they don't want help because they have found a way to make the wheelchair part of their momentum and they don't want
right.
help. Sometimes they
Right.
do. Or a
Right.
cane or a walker or different, it doesn't have to be an implement. It just could be they have multiple sclerosis and they walk with a limp, or
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
different uh, disabilities.
Yeah.
I look at that and I look to see how can I just even if it's a minute out of your day to do that is it's so easy. It just
Right.
doesn't take any effort.
Mhm.
I see it as effortless. Other people see it as I don't want to be bothered.
Yeah. Right. Mm.
So
The big difference.
that's pretty much how I implement uh,
Yeah.
how I get through the day.
Yes. I also have a sense that you always honor yourself. You always been you, right? It feels to me
Yeah,
like I said that.
I'm laughing because my mouth gets me in trouble. And a lot of times I'll leave the house and my husband will say, "Please behave today." When
Yes.
growing up, uh,
Yeah.
one I never talked back to my mother, but I talked
Mm.
back to my sisters and brothers. Never talked
Yeah.
back to my father. Never talked back to adults or my grandmother or whatever. But
Mm.
when I reached an age of 30 or 26 or 35, and I had an opinion, I would give it, and it wasn't always welcome.
Right.
And people resented it because I
Mm.
spoke how I felt. I
Yeah.
wasn't uh,
Yeah.
mirroring their feelings, and sometimes I took their feelings and disregarded them, and that wasn't kind. But I
Right.
have always been outspoken, and I've always been uh, a frequent believer
Mm.
in giving your opinion, or sometimes you have to be quiet,
Right.
But I'm pretty outspoken, and it's not always taken the right way, not always taken the way I meant it, uh,
Right.
uh,
Right.
because I'm from Philadelphia, and
Mm.
Philadelphia people they're kind of notorious, especially in sports games and stuff, to not
Yeah.
be so forthright. They're going to be they'll
Mm.
throw a beer or throw a hot dog or whatever because they're mad. But
Yes.
Uh, Philadelphia people, in the most part, are kind and generous, but they're emotional, and
Yes.
I get sometimes I'm too emotional with my
Mm.
verbiage, and it
Yes.
doesn't go well.
Well, it's all you, and that's what I see. Though you do honor that. You when you say
Yeah,
my opinion, it's not accepted, but you being what and who you are, and you're not really ashamed of that, and you just
no,
keep
I'm not
going.
going
That's
down.
beautiful. Yeah,
Yeah, I won't
beautiful.
back down from. Um, I have to say, one time I was in Walmart and this woman was slapping this child, like, like really hurting the child because the child was misbehaving, but
Yeah.
slapping to the point of the child being hurt. And I called security
Mm.
over and I said, this, you need to stop this woman. I can't stop her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give you one other instance. I was in Kenya one time in Nairobi, and I heard this woman screaming, screaming, screaming in the middle of the street, and all these people were surrounding her, and a man was hitting her with a bullwhip and
Oh.
whipping her until her back was bleeding,
Oh
her
my
arms were
God.
bleeding, and
Wow.
I anyway, I was in Nairobi, Kenya, and all these people were gathering in the middle of the street, and this woman and this man, and she was on her by this time, she was on her knees, crying, screaming, and I tried to step forward. Someone grabbed me and they said, "He owns her.
Oh
He
my
owns
God.
her. He can do whatever he wants." And I couldn't stop him because he bought her. In that country, people are not just women.
Wow.
People are slaves to other people, and they're bought and sold. And I wanted to step forward and help this woman, but he probably would have turned the bullwhip on me. And
Right.
I was in their country. That's how they do things.
Oh
I
my
have to
God.
respect, and all I've been to 148 countries in the world. I have to walk into that country and respect their way of doing things, their
Wow.
way
That's
of handling the situation in their country. And in many countries, women are subservient their whole lives, and
yes.
men,
Yeah.
and children are put into slavery. We,
Mm.
I'm sure it's everywhere. It may
Right.
not be in Bhutan though.
Yeah, maybe not there. Yeah, which is a
Yeah,
good thing.
but it's in many, many countries. People are slaves to other human beings, and
Right.
I, I would like to
Um,
change that
yeah.
one person at a time,
Yeah.
because I can't save the world because I'm only one person. But
Yes.
I think
Mm.
if we were all a little more kind, the kindness could spread like icing on a cake,
Right.
and would
Right.
be even to everyone if everybody was kind all the time. And it doesn't happen because that's not how they see things, and dictators tell people what to do and they listen.
Yes. And that's an interesting thing that, for good or bad, right? In a sense, if there is such a thing. So, like in Bhutan, there is in a way a dictator, but he's a peaceful one. So he's doing
Yes.
loving things, dictating loving things. But then there are other countries with quite the opposite. Oh my God, Kathy, that's kind of sad to hear that. Yeah, I have heard about the slavery in Africa, and yeah, many in many other places too. It's
And there's
mm,
52 countries in Africa, and we don't hear about it here. We don't know about it. You can go to Sri Lanka, you can go to the Philippines, you can
yeah,
go to whether you go to Patagonia, or you go to Australia, or you go to um, say say you go to China. You don't really know
mm,
what happens there because you don't live there.
right,
What you hear from the news may not be true. So
right.
there are people who are succumb to brutality every day of their
Yeah.
whole life.
Yeah, that's kind of hard to it's hard to hear when I hear that. It's like almost like unbelievable. No, it cannot be true, something like that. But it is. It is the reality for a lot of
You just don't see it, and it's
right.
hidden. It's a
Right.
secret. It's a secret that people know about. But you
I get some.
you want to change it, but you can only do it one person at a time.
Right. Yes. So that's the wise
It
thing to do.
could be a
Yeah.
child, it could be an adult, it could be a dog, it could be a
Yeah.
cat. or
Animals.
a
Yeah.
bird or some kind of animal,
Yeah.
or it could be a kindness to a policeman. You know,
Right.
you're the people who try to protect us
Mm.
sometimes need protecting. So
Mm. Yeah. Yeah, that too. Well, it has been a wonderful conversation. I could stay with you for much, much, much longer. We're almost at the end, but there's a question that I have to ask you. I mean, I love everything that you represent, and one of the things that it's resonating with me more and more and more and more. Of course, the love, because I feel it's always there, but also this authenticity. This as a woman of being, as a human being, being you, having your authority, not letting other people or anything kind of influence, on what you are and what you want from life in what you want to express. That's so inspiring. It's really inspiring. Thank you.
I I am influenced by the environment, by trash. I'm
Mm,
influenced by people who want to make more money.
yeah.
People
Agree.
who that I'm inspired by people who just want to exist with what they have. If
Mm,
you go to Africa and you
yeah.
go to a village and they're happy to have chickens and they're happy to have eggs and that's it, and they have a pig to trade or whatever. So
Yeah. Yeah.
some people are happy
Yeah.
with what they have and
Yeah.
that's all they need.
Right.
I think there's always people that are driven and they want more and more and more, and you're in their way. So get out of their way, let them
Mm,
have their money, let them have
mm,
their um, fancy life. But I want things to be simple
yeah.
and
Yeah.
non-combative. I
Right.
want things to be uh, pleasant, but I
Yeah.
also want to be pleasant to other people. And maybe the next day they'll be pleasant back to somebody else, and I will never see it.
Right. Right.
And
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
how uh,
Yeah.
I live my uh,
Mhm.
my socialization of living in
Yeah.
America.
Right. Yeah. So you know how to navigate this world. You're very good at it.
Well,
Let's put that way. You're very
I make mistakes. Don't get me wrong. Mistakes with my I make mistakes with my grandchildren. I make
Ah.
mistakes with my husband. I make mistakes putting on my makeup. I
Oh.
make mistakes every day doing something, and
Uh,
sometimes uh, the next day I have to make amends. But
yes. Yeah.
we, I trust me. I am far from the person who is mistake proof. There's no such thing. It doesn't
Yes.
happen in my lifetime. I
Mm.
something I have to learn, but I haven't conquered that learning yet.
Huh. But that's the thing, Kathy. I believe that to to actually learn, we have to make mistakes, right? That's the process. That's the path of learning. It's we make
Yes,
mistakes and then we just improve a little bit and then we learn some more, isn't it? It's all about that. So that's the
it's
path.
all about. You know what? Sometimes you're insecure because you know you made a mistake and how are you going to fix it? But you have to
Yeah.
move on because those
Yeah.
mistakes are they may happen again. Hopefully not. And we
Yeah.
learn from our, you know,
That's
uh,
it. That's it.
it's that's about it.
Yeah. And being humble too, it's important, right? Even if we don't learn for some reason, that means being kind to ourselves. There's a reason why we are not learning certain lessons.
You need to eat the right food at the right time, do
Mm,
the right exercise at the right time, and try to be have stability in your life. Where is
yeah.
the stability?
Yeah.
And maybe you can perpetrate it and convince somebody else to have stability in their life by seeing that you're consistent.
Yes, yes, yes. A billion times to that. Yeah, beautifully said. Thank you so much again for sharing, for meeting me today. Yes, and sharing your wisdom. It's just you're such a. I mean, you have so much, so many experiences, and a lot of wisdom that's coming from love, and it can be felt. So thank you so much for that felt love.
You,
Thank you.
it's so much of a pleasure to rekindle our relationship and to do this again. Thank
Yeah.
you for having me on the show.
Thank you. So before we say goodbye, I do want to mention your website. It's right here somewhere. Oh yeah, maryjane.spillane.com. It will be clickable on the podcast notes so you don't miss the spelling. It will be here. But before
Oh,
we say goodbye for today, Kathy, I do want to ask you another question. I'm very curious about because you traveled so much. That's my last question to you. So, do you have a favorite country, one that you could somehow live in if you could go live there?
uh, uh, I love uh, Madagascar.
Oh,
Madagascar is an island off the coast of Africa. It has one major city. It is uh, nutmeg and cinnamon and
ah,
vanilla
smells
trees
good.
in the
Mm,
forest. Uh,
mm,
Around Madagascar, there are scientists that come to Madagascar because they have the most exotic fish in the world that are no
mm,
place else in
yeah.
in in the sea. They perpetrate and they mate in Madagascar seas in the oceans around Madagascar, and they don't exist anywhere. So there's a lot of people
Wow.
who go study the ocean flow around
Yeah,
Madagascar, and
yeah.
so I got to go there and spend lots of time there and see.
Wow.
It doesn't have mountains. It's pretty
Mm,
flat, but
flat.
everywhere you go, you smell cinnamon because they have cinnamon
Mm,
trees and vanilla and
mm.
nutmeg and all these wonderful spices.
Wow.
But
Yeah, yeah.
this, the
Mm.
other place that I have to mention is Zanzibar.
Oh,
I Where Freddie Mercury was born. I got to see Zanzibar, and it's where Chanel number 5, the nectar of the flowers on Zanzibar, created Chanel number 5. But there is a
wow.
Chanel number 1, Chanel number 2, Chanel number 3, Chanel number 4, but Chanel number 5 is the one that got marketed. So all
Wow.
those things are Zanzibar, but it's part of Tanzania, but in the Indian Ocean. It's not really its own country. More,
Right.
it's like 5 little islands. So I wanted to mention that because most people don't go there, and
Yes.
I
Both.
would have to say Madagascar.
Yeah. How? Wow. Now I'll have to research a little bit. I remember watching a movie, like it was a Walt Disney movie, like animated
Oh,
movie about Madagascar. Was it a
see,
movie?
these
Wait,
are
there's no
ants
movie.
700 miles. So the
Yeah.
only animal on Madagascar is a lemur. That's native to Madagascar. But the Walt Disney movie that had elephants that were dancing and zebras and
Yeah.
monkeys
Yeah.
and everybody thing, that's all hype. It doesn't really
Okay.
it's a cartoon. But in
Oh,
Madagascar, the only animal is a lemur, which is a monkey
oh,
with a long tail,
right.
and so it's not wild. It's
Yeah.
just
Mm.
it has uh, coral reefs that don't exist anywhere else in the world, and that's
Amazing.
what makes it unique. And
Ah,
nobody goes there.
yeah, I'm curious about now. You're so, I mean, that's what's amazing about you too. Yeah, you're very diverse. You really like you dance with life really beautifully. So
I
thank
hope
you. What a
stop
dance.
dancing.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Thank you so much again, Kathy, for your beautiful presence. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you.
We'll be in touch
But
again. Thank you. Love you too. Bye for now.